Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm your host, Gabbo Say So, and we back with another video. We got how Meek Mill clowned himself out of his career. It's been a pretty bad, let's say, month for Meek Mill and a pretty bad year for Diddy. But we're just gonna get right into it, man.
With impressive sales and #1 records in his catalog, it's fair to say that Meek Mill was once considered one of the biggest artists in the game. Now, rappers losing their spotlight isn't anything unusual. We have seen countless artists rise and fall for many different reasons over the years, but what makes Meek's journey from the top of the music industry to a lower level of fame so intriguing is not that he lost his ability to produce quality music, but instead, it was simply the fact that he became an internet laughingstock, and people haven't let up on scrutinizing or mocking every single thing he does. How did
I ain't gonna front. Academics has been on a tour to send a message about Meek. Even if you don't even listen to that man, bro, every day is a video about Meek. A devoted video. Whether it's on a specific topic, his career, his music, their issues together, bro. Ack has been spearheading this Meek Mill campaign, bro, in the worst way.
this happen? Especially for a rapper like Meek Mill, whose career began as a respected street artist and was raised in one of the grittiest neighborhoods of Philadelphia. My name is Luesta, and today we're investigating all of the events that led Meek Mill to getting clowned out of his career. Capable of spitting bars which depicted him in those rough areas of the city of brotherly love, Meek's early work felt raw, rugged, and essential at a time when not many street artists were popping off.
Look, summer nights can even turn cold. In the streets of Philly when niggas don't even get to turn old. My heart pumping to a turn gold. You stuck in neutral and riding like fuck it, it's a long road.
And even to this day, people still reminisce to the times when he was dropping classic mixtapes, or even his debut studio album, Dreams and Nightmares, which was home to one of the greatest intros of all time.
Times like this, to rhyme like this, so I had to grind like that, to shine like this, in a matter of time I spent on some locked up.
His potential was evident for all to see, so much so that it's hard to believe that it went so wrong from there. But if we're to look back at when things began to get out of his grasp, it arguably started with a rapper who's about as far removed from the streets of Philly as possible. If we were to pinpoint the moment where Meek went from a formidable MC to a figure of ridicule, it's fair that beefing with Drake is when things went from good to bad. As everyone, including myself, has covered extensively, Meek and Drake had a collaborative relationship until a track by the name of Rico, which dropped on Meek Mill's 2015 album, Dreams Worth More Than Money. After Meek took exception to a line about the girl of your dreams, which he interpreted to be about his then girlfriend Nicki Minaj, a beef ensued when Meek decided to out Drizzy for having a ghostwriter. But ghostwriter or not, he was about to get smoked when it came time for diss tracks to drop. On Back to Back and Charged Up, Meek pretty much got bodied in front of the whole world to see by Drake. To add insult to injury, Drizzy then detailed on his song Summer 16 that one night when they were both in the Four Seasons, Meek and Nicki had the room below his suite. To capitalize on this, he played Back to Back over and over again, with Meek doing nothing about it. Considering Meek was known as the hard-edged rapper from Philly, this wasn't a good look. But what didn't help is that there was a domino effect to getting clowned by Drizzy that even his then MMG label mate Wale got involved in.
I honestly think, he brought like a pencil to a gunfight. He ain't bring a knife, like a pencil. You know what I'm saying? A piece of paper. Try to paper cut him to death. Like, you can't compete with somebody that got them type of relationship.
In response, Meek didn't aim at Wale meaningfully. Instead, he went to Twitter, a place that would soon become a routine source of mockery for him, to basically say that he got his feelings hurt. Wale just ain't gonna tweet a thing about my album. He's been hating on me for a long time now. Don't even text me, cornball. Alongside coming across as overly sensitive, the fallout from the Drake beef continued to have a ripple effect on his career, because every time he tried to stick his neck out and reassert himself, he just got destroyed publicly time and time again. When he decided to fixate on Drake's alleged ghostwriter, Quentin Miller, and even ordered his goons to put the beats on him at one point, it just seemed like a complete overkill to most people. Still unwilling to take the L and simply move on, Meek then implanted himself into the Joe Budden and Drake beef, where he referred to Budden as a crackhead. In typical fashion, Joe clapped back with a simple but effective putdown, and basically won the beef by letting... In typical fashion, Joe clapped back with...
I think you're taking some things out of context. I didn't diss you. Number two, you don't rap well enough to go this route with me. Damn.
A simple but effective putdown, and basically won the beef by letting the world know that he was simply too elite of a spitter to go blow for blow with Meek. Whereas when 50 Cent waded into the whole scenario, he seemed to bypass Meek's talents and go straight at his intelligence. When 50 Cent was asked about how Meek was dealing with his beef with Drake, he mentioned that Meek Mill made a questionable move by starting trouble with AR-Ab. AR-Ab is not just a rapper from Philadelphia like Meek Mill, but he's also known for being involved in some serious criminal activities that has him locked up in prison for the foreseeable future. Drake had mentioned AR-Ab in Back to Back, and Meek Mill's decision to target him was seen by 50 Cent as a bad move, suggesting it wasn't smart to stir up issues with someone so notorious.
It turned into the kid being on stage saying fuck AR-Ab. And I didn't understand it when he did that. I was like, it's a special kind of stupid going on over here. Now you just took something that completely was non-threatening with Drake and...
A special type of stupid is crazy. A special type of stupid is beyond me, bro. Oh, no. Damn, Meek.
Stay
One
saying
more
fuck
time.
AR. And I didn't understand it when he did that. I was like, it's a special kind of stupid going on over here. Now you just took something that completely was non-threatening with Drake and this one and turned it into something that could potentially turn into you bumping in Philly. You know, he's really not that bright. That kid is not that bright. Look, the easiest thing you can do is bring other people into the statements that you're saying, right? While you write music.
Over time, Meek would backpedal to the point that he would even collaborate with Drake again, making this the first of several mishaps that he would make when it came to public relations over the years. However, while Drake and Meek eventually managed to patch things up, the same really can't be said for him and Academics. This long-running feud started when Meek first became aware of Ac's content and his existence. Academics never reported kindly when it came to Meek, often calling his albums a flop and that he was steadily becoming irrelevant.
You spent all that money and still didn't hit over 100. This is sad.
It's important to mention that Ak is a diehard fan of Drake, and the fact that Drake and Meek had a feud in the past could certainly fuel his hatred towards him. But once he realized Academics had been covering his music on his account, he declared it a mumble rap promotion page. Ak isn't exactly loved by everyone, but even those who strongly dislike him realized that Meek was going overboard. Meek playing with himself with this shit. If it's really a mumble rap promo page, then why bother caring about it? Meek mostly just comes off as salty here. Surprisingly, Meek didn't catch on to the fact that targeting Ak, a hip-hop blogger, wouldn't really bring him any benefits. Despite this, he continued to go after Ak whenever the opportunity arose, such as the time when he tweeted this in June of 2020, saying, "Academics is canceled because he's a bad police and our culture doesn't need them." He also gassed a lot of beats that got people killed and hurt and never donated $1 to the culture. We gon' holla at you next run, champ. While some agreed with Meek, others found it amusing that he believed he was in a position to target Ak and didn't hesitate to share their thoughts. People letting a blogger get them this mad? You know you can't cancel nobody, weak mills. As time went on, each interaction between Meek and Ak seemed to backfire on Meek, only reinforcing the idea that he is no longer a figure to be feared or respected. And when he essentially suggested that he was going to place a bounty on Ak's head,
and again, it speaks to the times that we're living in, man, where back in the day, real niggas, gangsters, like, they knew they could run into their op at any point and it was on sight. You know what I mean? These niggas weren't used to niggas just constantly talking shit through a computer screen. Like, these niggas knew who the enemy was. They knew how to find them. They knew how to get access to them. Everything was like face-to-face conversation. But in this new media and this new day and age, bro, people could talk shit about you and never have to see you a day in your life, bro. But you gonna see the shit that they write about. Whether it's a tweet, whether it's a blog, whether it's an article, maybe it might even be a headline, bro. There ain't nothing you could do about it when people start writing about you. Once you reach that level of fame, and you see Meek trying to have this gangster persona with people he's probably never gonna bump into. You know what I mean? The internet is undefeated, and I think he's trying to be the first one to win. It's a losing battle, especially when you're dealing with bloggers like Ak, who this is what they do for a living. Every single time you at him, it's more content. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? You can't let a troll know that you're mad. It's not going to stop them from trolling you. You know what I mean? Until you change your approach. And I feel like Meek still has like this street mentality when it comes to dealing with media personalities. Like, why? You're not going to get to them, bro. And every single day they'll write about you, tag you, post you, create articles about you. And ain't nothing you could do about it, bro. That's the shit that comes with fame. You know what I mean? You just got to take it on the chin and keep it moving, bro. Like, all this tripping, threatening niggas and all this, nobody cares about your feelings. It's 2024. Nobody cares about your feelings, bruv. Just my 2 cents.
the blogger didn't hesitate to remind him that the whole thing was ridiculous coming from a platinum-selling artist.
Stop snitching on yourself. Stop telling the world you're greenlighting people and just do what you have to do. Because right now, like, when you say greenlighting, I send that to the police. I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh, yo, are you greenlit? Wait, Meek Mill just told me in front of the world I'm greenlit? Okay, here's the cops. Hey, Meek Mill, that's his account, that's his people. He say I'm greenlit. Are you dumb?
From that initial interaction onwards, Meek made an influential enemy who would be ready to pounce whenever he slipped up. As a result, whether Meek is weirdly eating fries from his legs by the pool, hanging from bamboo sticks, or allegedly paying for posts from blogs to try and boost his lackluster sales, Ak has always been there to catalog his many, many errors, including when he went for one of the most controversial figures in hip-hop in what should have been a home run, only to lose out again. A longtime friend of Academics, former king troll of hip-hop and verified snitch, Tekashi 6ix9ine's journey has taken a severe downturn in recent years, and yet, the man who had ratted on everyone in the 9 Trey Bloods somehow still got one over on Meek when they were beefing, only further cementing the sense that he was not to be taken seriously. After a series of back and forth exchanges, the situation escalated when they encountered each other in Atlanta. This led to a heated argument happening entirely behind their security teams.
That's a fact, you. That's a fact, you. Ain't no security. This is security. That's
Look, we're gonna do like this. Shut up. Shut up.
This is security? That's look, shut up. Shut up. And you with a cop.
Oh my God.
Look, you take, and you with police. And you with police. Look, that cop. That cop.
It didn't look good for either of them, but for Meek, who was seen as a real gangster, it especially hurt his image, which was already taking a lot of hits. For many people who supported him before, this moment seemed like a turning point. Meek became an L after this shit. I'm sorry, I can't fuck with Meek after this. For others, it was a sign that Meek had some growing up to do.
We gotta stop putting people in positions that they're not ready to be in. I feel like a lot of the shit that Meek has going on, he was kind of pushed into it. Any wrong move and you could become the villain.
Right. Meek should have ran from that situation, and the internet would have killed him and said, look at Meek running. Like, no matter what, Meek was gonna lose in that situation.
This brings us to a critical aspect of Meek's career. For years, he seems to be caught in somewhat of an identity crisis where he can't decide whether or not he wants to be a street rapper or a motivational figure. This uncertainty in his choices often makes it easier for fans to criticize him. Obviously, in his younger days, no one expected Meek to be a socially aware rapper, but following his incarceration in 2017 from a parole violation, the man that re-emerged seemed to be different. After being released from jail, Meek became a campaigner for change. Teaming up with Michael Rubin, who also wouldn't make things any easier for Meek in the long run, as you'll see later, Meek launched the Reform Alliance, an organization which fought to change how the prison system and sentencing operated. This was a far cry from street beef, and it looked like Meek had really turned a corner.
I come from being in prison just 7 days ago, what I call history, because I know it's a lot of voiceless men and people I personally know from being in prison, sitting next to them every day, who are dependent on me. And I feel like God has given me a great platform to help many others and make Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the world a better place.
However, just months after it appeared he had a new focus and brand direction, he was back to speaking recklessly. One example of this is when he got himself banned from the area by a local artist named Poundside Pop. Rather than continuing to preach the virtues of peace or rising above it, Meek tweeted, "We run the hood. The fuck is you saying? LOL." At a time where he should have been moved on from worrying about running Philly to running his own businesses like his mentor Jay-Z, Meek had still talked tough whenever the opportunity arrived. And at the age of 36, it's not necessarily a good look.
Niggas ain't fucking with me, man. I be hearing a lot of people talking and shit like that. It's really like that. Like, if I go out in my hood, it's really like that. We really not. I don't want to entertain of. We say we got 500 murders a year. That means it's a lot of killers in our neighborhood. When I come out in Philadelphia, I'm like super safe. You know what I mean? It's not nothing to promote. And if I come out, we bring real street niggas together from city to city.
Yet, as Wayno noted on Everyday Struggle, this wasn't a lesson Mill seemed willing to learn, and it meant that his own Dream Chasers label couldn't take off as it should.
I wish that Meek would see that he's like, I wouldn't say above things, but certain things you just gotta stay out of. You know what I mean? As an artist, as a person in the game, a lot of them don't want to leave the streets alone because, yeah, it's a lot of bullshit that comes with it, but the streets is a mentality. I felt like I understood Meek's intent, but realistically, yo, I think that Meek just need to leave a lot of shit alone because a lot of artists don't want to sign with Meek. And I don't know for what reason, but I don't, we haven't seen Meek as the artist that breaks artists. I think he needs to just create some detachment between him and
Rather than just being a statement without evidence, Wayno's words would come true when it was revealed Roddy Ricch happily discarded his ties to Meek once he got big. To preface this, it's important to note that Roddy Ricch was once speculated to be on Meek Mill's Dream Chaser label, to the point that he was even spotted wearing a DC chain. Roddy Ricch had a vague affiliation to Meek back in his early days. However, as time passed on, Roddy's connection to Meek began to fade, and he has since stated that if he were to sign with any artist's label, it would have been Nipsey Hussle's, as he felt Nipsey did more for him than Meek ever did. Still, Meek continued to assert that Roddy was taken from him by Atlantic Records, and that he had been blackballed during one of his infamous Twitter rants. In response, Roddy, who was 11 years younger than Meek, explained that this wasn't the right way to go about business.
My only situation with him, he know this, so I can say whatever I want to say. One thing you're not gonna ever hear me do, I'm a real nigga. I don't speak on shit with niggas. I explain this to him. Please, let's not speak on our business and situations. Can't even call each other on the phone.
Essentially cut out of the Roddy Ricch story, this isn't even the only time that his label basically threw Meek to the side.
Damn, son, you got a younger nigga talking to you like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like 11-year age difference, and you hear how Roddy Ricch is moving, bro. Like, take something from that, man. Don't just watch this shit for the entertainment. Take some real shit from this. I know it's a campaign to smear Meek, but like, you know, there's some game here.
When he was deep into his career and should have been seen as a fully fledged star when he released 2021's Expensive Pain, they still treated him like any other artist they had just signed. So why would they do this? Well, due to how Meek is treated these days and how much the fanbase's perception of him has changed over the years, they can do so with no consequences. Besides, his sales figures have kept declining to the point that even when he and Rick Ross dropped a long-awaited collaborative album in 2023, it peaked at number 23 on the charts and barely sold 31,000 units. Raw, with that kind of hunger his fanbase used to have for new music, Meek is still trying to keep the buzz alive. life. But unfortunately, the way he goes about it also plays into how he's treated like a punchline by so much of the hip-hop audience. But rather than sticking to his guns and doing what he wants to do, Meek cares far too much what people think. This was especially clear in June of 2023 when Meek took to Twitter to basically ask if he fell off. Who thinks I fell off or don't really think I got it with rapping anymore? I for real need answers and tell the truth because I'm not taking it personal. I need to hear how people think before I do what I do. A social experiment. With fans ultimately agreeing that his music doesn't hit as it used to in recent years, this intense search for validation left both fans and hip-hop commentators such as Charlemagne the God to clown him even more.
But why do you care what people on social media think? Why do people need validation from social media? And by the way, Meek, you can't get on social media and ask a question like that because nobody's there to give you serious answers.
Not at all. I would say probably 80% is going to be BS and they're just going to be attacking you because they can.
And when you consider how brutally Kanye West disrespected Meek, it's obvious that the big dogs in the game also don't see him in the same light because of everything he's done to make himself a target for clowning. For example, look how Kanye reacted when Meek tried to call him out for wearing a White Lives Matter t-shirt amidst the George Floyd riots.
And I put White Lives Matter on a t-shirt. Oh, you know what? Let's go get celebrities. Let's go get Puff Daddy. Let's get Dave Chappelle. Let's go get Meek Mills. What made somebody think Meek Mills could say something to me?
Lace's journey, salute.
No, this is the funniest thing of Yo, man, I'm about to start crying, laughing, man. Somebody thought Meek Mills. No, I'm literally in tears.
Although he didn't respond to these claims, it didn't make any impact because at the end of the day, Ye and Meek are seen as in two different leagues, not only creatively, but financially. As Ye has no shortage of slip-ups on his record, the one thing you can't say is that he isn't true to himself. Meanwhile, the past few years have resulted in Meek being viewed as a toy for billionaires who like to boost their credibility by dealing with hip-hop, as was the case for Michael Rubin. As I mentioned earlier, Meek has been linked up with Michael Rubin for a long time. Since then, he's added Robert Kraft to his list of exceptionally wealthy friends. But that doesn't explain the way that he gets treated by these guys, considering that Michael Rubin should really be treating him like an equal partner in their organization. Meek, the former gangster from Philly, has allowed himself to be mocked by these people too, posting pictures of the toilet bowl after the Rubin white party like a sorority girl on wine coolers, to the many pictures of them embracing very tightly. The relationship with Rubin might have done wonders for his advocacy, but not for his reputation.
You're gonna get another drunken hug tonight. I don't care what anyone says. You're getting a drunken hug. You too. You too. Drunken hugs are coming tonight.
Hey yo, freaky ass billionaires. Are they sharing a blanket? To make things worse, it doesn't seem like the address book is being put to work either. With Baby also getting his reputation destroyed by staying around Rubin, it was presumed they were to acquire game. But by the looks of it, this reputation destroyed.
Not the infamous back hug. Not the infamous back hug. From real street niggas, right? Oh man.
By staying around Rubin, it was presumed they were to acquire game. But by the looks of it, this isn't the case whatsoever, as Meek still can't bring his projects to life.
Meek said this on Threads. He said, yo, where's that person in Silicon Valley that will work with people like myself with influence and build this social media music-based app where you go to hear new music?
Why is he reading it like that?
Interviews and content. Where, if you sign up, you may get new content from your favorite artists and sports players. I think I would do sports and entertainment. Meek science. Now, if you're hanging around 15 billionaires and you still tweeting like this trying to find that nigga, what the fuck are these billionaires doing? What are they doing for you?
They hugs.
I think Meek may have meant to send this in the group chat. I'll be like, yo, Meek, why are you asking the general internet this? Meek should be going to Mike Rubin and say, listen, no more drunken hugs. I don't want you to try to rub my leg no more, brother. What I want you to do is this. I have this idea for an app. Y'all are using me for my social equity and my cultural coolness. Yo, let's do business.
Between all of the mistreatment he's received both in rap and within the most exclusive sectors of society, it's now created a scenario where no matter what he does now, it's always tainted by his public persona away from the mic. As a result of this, it doesn't matter what he does, the go-to response is to mock him. For instance, Meek wasn't even given any leeway when his team made it to the Super Bowl. Although Dreams and Nightmares was a bit of an unofficial anthem for the Eagles, his decision to celebrate them making it to the big game with a freestyle over Hit 'Em Up just led to even more trolling. Bro could have just congratulated the team and moved on, always doing the most. I refuse to believe Meek Mill is a real person. Aside from that, one of the biggest factors that continues to damage Meek's credibility is that things just aren't well thought out. Screaming in fast food restaurants aside, this is a guy who will ask how African people hear his music, or announce his love for Candace Owens, even after she spent months dissing him for going to jail, and not expect to get any backlash because he doesn't calculate his moves at all. Likewise, when he tries to assert himself, like when he recently revealed that he charges $250K for a feature, all people did was wonder how this was possible in 2024. We can name 1,000 better ways to spend $250K other than a Meek Mill verse. Seen as the butt of every joke, it's reached a point where he can't even kick an abuser off his label without getting blasted for it. Once footage surfaced of Dream Chasers' artist, Vori, literally threatening to kill his girlfriend, Meek Mill took swift and decisive action to remove him from the label ranks. As, let's face it, the last thing Meek needs is even more bad publicity or reason to be torn down by the general public. But even with Vori behaving in such a deplorable way on camera, drama, people were still not willing to take Meek's side or stand with him in the action he took. Dude always preaching about some bullshit. Bro, we don't even care if you're from Philly. Vori is better than Meek. This ain't 2012. No longer seen as a top-tier artist, nor a cultural figure of note, it's fair to say that Meek's mishandling of his public image and the scrapes.
It's crazy how we always choose to highlight the tweets from the 16-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like, and this is what I was saying earlier about the times that we're living in, bro. Gangsters don't have to worry about niggas saying shit to their face. They'll never say it to your face, bro. The internet has created the safest space to express yourself with absolutely no consequences, bro. We're highlighting tweets from 14-year-olds, bro. Like, they hold weight. But then again, we read these comments and we're not looking at age. We're not looking at who these people are. We're just looking at what's the consensus. What are people constantly saying, bro? Like, you can't feed into this shit.
He's gotten himself
You
into
can't.
have really done considerable damage.
That
to
shit
his
will break
career.
you.
To make matters worse, it was recently revealed that Meek was one of the redacted names listed in a new sexual lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, leading many to believe the rapper is gay. This has sparked numerous memes all across social media, as Meek's response to the drama was to say anything but admit it was false.
I don't think Meek is gay. I do not think Meek is gay. But he is incredibly bad at proving he's straight.
However, Meek tried to be smart in this situation and put out a 5-song album in an attempt to capitalize off the publicity. Sadly, it would backfire. And as stated in this post by his enemy, Academics, the results weren't looking too well.
Yo, I didn't think this was gonna be as... Yo, I did not think this was gonna be as funny as it turned out, bro. This is... Oh my gosh, my final take, man. You reap what you sow. You made your bed. You gotta live. You gotta lay in it. Meek is learning the hard way that the gangster mentality, the gangster mindset, just doesn't work when you're dealing and beefing with bloggers. He doesn't seem like he has people that could direct him, or he's willing to listen, bro. He's at that age, 36, bro. Can't let go of the youth. I feel like a lot of adults go through that cycle where they refuse to admit that it's okay to get old. It's a part of maturation of life. You're not going to be 15, 20, 25 forever. Like, worrying and concerning yourself with street politics, nigga, you done made it out the hood, bro. Stop looking back. They don't love you. I don't know who needs to tell them this. Like, people that come from nothing appreciate the soil that they came from, but there's a reason we all want to grow and move on and leave. Especially if you come from rough street of Philadelphia, man. You can't, man, stop it, bro. I mean, all being concerned with the wrong shit at your age is contributing to why people continue to laugh at you at this point in your career, man. It just is what it is. But, you know, it's not over. I mean, he still does make decent music. I'm not gonna hate on this man's music because people don't fuck with him no more, man. Like, nah. We'll see, though. I'm gonna holler at you guys next video. Hit the like and subscribe button for more content. This was how Meek Mill cloned himself out his career, bro. Nigga said, this is how we gonna do this. Shut up! Shut up!